morning. Welcome back to Daybreak on this 15th day of March 2022. My name is Sam Gituku and it's now some 23 minutes to 7 a.m. and time to focus on the latest in terms of the state of the race. We're looking at the front pages of the two dailies. Barroso, what has been happening, especially the past few days. I want to first introduce the panelists here in studio. Edwin Sifuna is the Secretary General of ODM. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
Welcome back to the show. We also have Dr. Chris Omalwa, a Member of Parliament for Community. You've been gone for so long. What has been going on?
And Secretary General of Ford Kenya.
Well, yeah, Secretary General of Ford Kenya. Good morning.
Good morning.
Where have you been?
I've been campaigning. Yes, as you know, I want to be the next governor of Trans Nzoia County, and I'm also on the national campaign team for Kenya Kwanza. So we want to form the government. Okay. Busy time for you. Absolutely.
This is the third time you're trying to do that? Did you do that in 2013 or it was originally
2013, March that I was contesting for parliamentary seat of Community.
Yeah.
I was also on the national campaign team for COD.
Yeah.
Likewise in 2017.
Okay, so it's that time you're trying to do that. Yes. And of course, Senator Isaac Mora will be joining us shortly on set. He's already in studio. On the front page of the Standard, trouble in Azimio. Wiper leader now stirs fresh controversy, raising questions about deal that endorsed Raila for president, and OKA allies appear to be reading from different scripts, quoting Nick Salat, Martha Karua, Cyrus Jirongo. They're calling it the confusion galore. We'll be hearing from Edwin Sifuna, who was one of those persons that was signing some documents at the KICC on Saturday, what exactly they were signing and what is true, what's not, and what those details look like. On the front page of the Daily Nation, you'll see Ruto's big day, 2 days after firing a broadside against President Kenyatta and just hours after receiving political defectors in Embu and Meru. A bullish William Ruto today stands in front of 4,350 UDA delegates inside Kasarani Stadium in his quest to be officially named the Kenya Kwanza presidential flag bearer, setting the stage for a duel with Azimio's Odinga. Of course, you see more reporting inside the newspaper. Then you'll see Jubilee's U-turn on Raila deputy. For months, the Jubilee party, or the Jubilee side of Azimio, has insisted on a deputy president position as a condition for supporting the candidature of Odinga. But now the party's vice chairman, David Murathe, says that that's no longer a priority. But if Jubilee is not actively angling for a deputy president position, what is it going for? The questions they're asking there. And Senator Isaac Mora has now joined us. Now he's dressed in party colors. I don't know what we do with that. But good morning, Senator. How are you?
Good morning. It's our National Delegates Conference. So
yeah, but usually we don't do that because that is direct campaigning.
Well,
on set.
I'm sorry, but I can campaign with my mouth more than even the cloth. Anyway, I'm okay. Fine. I'm here and to represent my party. I know last minute we changed, but we had talked with you regarding Gachagua, and I'm here to represent the UDA party.
Okay, interesting. Welcome to the show. Let's quickly listen to what Kalonzo Musyoka said yesterday so that we embark on what is happening within, is it Azimio-OKA alliance that is still in confusion? One, Edwin Sifuna will be responding to that. Let's listen to what they said yesterday.
And the name, by the way, for the avoidance of doubt, is Azimio One Kenya. That is the name of the Grand Coalition, which will then be registered under the amended Political Parties Act as a coalition political party.
What was signed on Saturday was an agreement to form the Azimio Coalition Party.
So, Edwin Sifuna, first of all, we were told that 2 documents would be signed. Yes. Kalonzo Musyoka says there's one that he didn't sign. What exactly were those documents?
Well, Sam, I want to sit here and confirm to you that as Secretary General of ODM, I signed 2 documents. I cannot speak for the other SGs and the other political parties, but I want members of ODM to know that the SG signed 2 documents. The first document was the agreement in relation to ODM joining the Azimio La Umoja coalition. And the second document was the declaration of the presidential candidate for Azimio. Yes.
And you don't know what the other parties signed?
You see, Sam, this matter has some bit of background. When the task of coming together or coming up with these documents arose, we at Chungwa House seconded 2 advocates for that particular exercise. First, we sent Senior Counsel Otende Amolo, and he was accompanied by our Supreme Court superstar. It's called Jackson Awele. And they were joined by the lawyer who was seconded from Capitol Hill, Paul Mwangi. I understand that, in fact, the Jubilee side sent Counsel Tom Masharia, and I have it on good authority that the One Kenya Alliance sent 2 lawyers, my sister Eunice Lumalas and a gentleman called Gordon Ogola. And the expectation was that during the drafting of the documentation, these lawyers would be in touch with their principals, essentially the political parties that seconded them to the exercise. And I want to confirm that, in fact, the ODM lawyers, Honorable Otende Amolo and Jackson Awele, kept us abreast of every development, so that by the time the SG of ODM was putting pen to paper, I knew exactly what I was signing. And I know the contents of the documents that were signed.
Okay.
So at the end of the exercise, if you remember very well, Honorable Otende Amolo announced that the Secretary Generals should remain behind to execute the second document, because the program was running very late. There was a very impatient crowd waiting at Jacaranda, and we had to release the principals to go. Being a good student, I followed those instructions, and I in fact want to confirm that I signed the second document, which was a declaration. And by the way, the signing of the declaration of a presidential candidate was a bit of a superfluous exercise, because you will remember the delegates themselves had already passed that resolution, that this is the resolution of the delegates of Azimio, that in fact Raila Odinga be the presidential candidate. So I am sure that the other SGs, you know, if they're in contact with their council and their party leadership, should be able to execute that document. But it is superfluous. The most important and critical document was the coalition document. And I want to confirm, Sam, that in fact, the name on the document that I saw, probably other people saw a different name, is Azimio la Umoja. And that in fact, the only place that the word One Kenya appears on that document is when it comes to the slogan of the coalition. The slogan has changed from Inawezekana to, when we say Azimio, then we say One Kenya. That is the only place that I have seen One Kenya appear on that document.
So when Kalonzo Musyoka is saying that the name that was agreed is Azimio One Kenya Alliance, is it that this is a wish that was never accepted, or what happened? It
is possible that there was that agreement, but it was never reduced to writing. Sam, I want to also disclose that there was one amendment that was made to the coalition document at KICC. I remember that because the coalition document itself...
Is it amendment to?
One amendment to that document was made actually at KICC because in the coalition document itself, it sets out the structures of the coalition. There is a structure or an organ called the Council of the Coalition. And initially it had been expressed that the council will be made up of 7 members. So these members were to be derived from 2 from ODM, 2 from Jubilee, and then 2 from the One Kenya Alliance, and then 1 chairman. That makes 7. But an amendment was moved by the other constituent parties that had not been factored in terms of representation. You will remember that there were almost 30 political parties that actually put pen to paper. So an amendment was made to expand the council to 9, so that we have 2 more people representing the other political parties in the council. And that's the only amendment that was made to the document. So
the extra 2 will come from which particular parties?
Now, all the other parties that had not gotten representation will pick 2 as an entity. They themselves will sit together, the NAC Kenyas, the Ubuntus, the others. They will decide on 2 representatives to join the council to represent them, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you just mentioned NAC Kenya, which I'll get back to.
Not NAC Kenya. I meant...
You mean NAC?
No, yes, I mean NAC.
Okay.
Of Charity Ngili.
Yeah. NAC. Dr. Chris Omalwa, when you're listening to this conversation, does it sound familiar in the coalition building that you've been part of the past 2 elections?
Thank you, Sam. How I wish you had read this book by Shemo Chodo, The Intrigues of MOU. I've been around, and whatever we are hearing is not new. And we can only know whatever was signed, maybe by going to the Register of Political Parties to get the full disclosure. Because with the new Political Parties Act, first, you cannot belong to 2 coalitions. The previous day, we saw One Kenya Alliance signing between Wiper, between KANU, the Jirongos, I think in Martha Karua. And if it's true what Kalonzo is saying, because he's been saying Azimio-OKA, it seems it was a proposal which was put on the table, and from what SG has said, it was rejected. Because one, you can't belong to two coalitions. This is the law that we just passed recently in Parliament. You can't belong to two coalitions. So maybe Kalonzo Musyoka was shortchanged. We've seen Kalonzo on TV saying he can't support Raila for the third time. He'll be the most foolish person. We saw it happening. I don't know whether he's going to change that statement. But it looks like in Azimio, things are falling apart. Things are falling apart, the center cannot hold. Because Kalonzo, yesterday, I listened to him carefully. He never signed the two documents. He's talking of one document. So the question is, which document did his SG sign? Because Sifuna said there were two documents. One, for ODM now joining the Azimio. I'm assuming that was the standard document. Correct. And the second document was to declare Raila Odinga as the presidential candidate for Azimio. So to me, it seems Kalonzo was shortchanged. And he said they never signed the second one.
Can you listen to him first before carrying on what exactly he said about that?
Even what people signed at KICC, if I ask all those secretaries general, what did they affix their signatures to? Probably nobody knows. If this thing was not rushed like it was, we would then all have come as one Kenya Alliance to sign. Because, quite frankly, my Secretary General did not sign the second document because it was specific about Azimio. We were not Azimio.
So I'm just wondering, and I'll get back to you, Edwin Sifuna, when he says that, and the second document according to SG Sifuna here is that to declare that Raila the only presidential candidate for Azimio movement, then he goes ahead to say Raila Tosha at Jacaranda. So how is he being shortchanged?
I have a lot of respect for Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, but unfortunately it is coming out clearly that he's really politically indecisive. It's like he doesn't know what he wants or he doesn't know what he stands for. Because I saw yesterday he was in Tharaka-Nithi and he said Raila Odinga, Tosha. And he said in the second document, which was not signed, it was the one declaring Raila Odinga as the presidential flag bearer for the Azimio group. And he's saying he's not Azimio. So maybe we need to look at those documents from the Register of Political Parties. I don't know whether they've been deposited, because as per the new law, I think the deadline is it 9th of April? There's still a lot of time. Even on our side, we're also preparing our own, which is work in progress on the side of Kenya Kwanza. But I don't think we have such confusion as it is what is happening in Azimio. I don't see Azimio lasting.
What does that mean?
The center cannot hold. Already you are seeing Kalonzo what he's saying.
Okay.
It's like he was conned. He signed some documents which he is not privy to or he was not briefed. Okay.
Senator Mora, so what are you making of this when you hear these developments just 2 days after that very pompous event on Saturday?
I think we are very happy to see the confusion in Azimio la Kuzimia. Ambalo limeazimia kuzimia. That's what they are just trying to tell us. That they are not genuine, that people are being forced into coalitions. Remember, One Kenya Alliance, according to us, before we formed Kenya Kwanza, was supposed to be a holding ground for people not to negotiate with William Ruto. And we must really, really thank Ford Kenya and ANC for breaking out of that camp and robustly presenting the earthquake that really shook the nation. And so Kalonzo's move to the so-called Azimio was supposedly going to be the game changer. It is an anticlimax. It's an anticlimax because the moment they did so, you can see now they are disintegrating even before. For example, the Farmers' Party, led by Irungu Nyakera, has come out clearly to say they were part of One Kenya Alliance, but they are not part of Azimio. So then One Kenya Alliance, if you look at the standard, Nick Salati is saying the coalition agreement with the One Kenya Alliance is yet to be deposited with the Register of Political Parties. You know, and the Register of Political Parties is a puppet of the state, and I must say that openly.
Why do you say that?
Because I have worked with her. I made the party primaries bill. 80% of it was copy-pasted to be the political parties amendment bill without my, whatever. And of course, I have been a victim of her indecision to the extent that I was expelled from the party and even my seat declared vacant. So I know how they work there. No, Sam, that is my entitlement. I have worked with that.
No, that is true. But I'm just saying, you see, you're talking about a person who holds an office.
Yes.
She's not here on the show to defend herself. So that's practically...
She has a right of reply, but that's what
I'm saying. That's your opinion. I would want you to restrain yourself to the events of what happened on Saturday. And you're doing quite well.
No. I'm still doing very well. It's just that I'm trying to emphasize that, you see, do you know the reason why I'm telling that? I'm saying that I'm on national television. You have Nick Salat saying who they just quarreled with his executive director, which should not happen. I have never seen Edwin Sifuna quarreling with his executive director.
What has the SG said?
About Wainaina. No, they quarreled with Wainaina about what is the stand of KANU on One Kenya Alliance, because all along we knew that KANU was going to go to Azimio. But anyway, the point I'm trying to say is, they are saying that the coalition agreement that will be deposited first is the one that will have a bearing. Now, the One Kenya Alliance is here to deposit its agreement, so between Karua, Jirong, and all of the other parties, including Davis Ochieng's MDG party. But of course, Davis is happy because he gets a leeway to go back to ODM through the back door. You see, now they will rush to deposit the coalition. Kalonzo is telling us on national, is telling the whole country that even the Secretary Generals, and I'm very proud to sit with the two of them. I'm the only non-Secretary General and the CEO of Mlima House, the Presidential Command Center of Mount Kenya Region, of WSR. They didn't know what they signed, not the first or the second document. So it was hurried for the cameras. We don't know what else could have exchanged hands, but clearly it has nothing to do with the interest of Kenyans. And I would want to tell Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, he seems already unhappy. And we could see even how Mutula Kilonzo and Enoch Wambua and other, they say that was his personal decision. So we do not want to see...
But I saw Enoch Wambua with Kalonzo Musyoka in Tharaka Nithi yesterday.
Yes, but that's the reason why there is this disgruntlement. Because why is Kalonzo speaking from both ends of his mouth? I would really want to say this without a doubt, that Azimio la Kuzimia is really about the perpetuation, succession of Uhuru Kenyatta. Is an Uhuru Odinga ticket. And it is crumbling. You can even see David Murathe, all of a sudden they are changing tact by saying that they don't need to negotiate for the deputy party position, deputy president position, because they want to dangle that as a carrot to keep people within the Azimio, possibly waiting for a BBI for them to get a prime minister.
Wow.
So really, these are the intrigues. And now, let me make this point, Sam, that officially President Uhuru Kenyatta has defected to ODM, and he is the campaign manager of Azimio.
Senator, you know that's not a statement.
Why do you bring Mwaura to heckle on the show instead of spreading knowledge and wisdom, if you can find any?
Just hold on. What you said is not a matter of fact. And secondly, the reason why I'm not challenging what you're calling Azimio la Kuzimia is because Senator is here to do that.
No, I'm not interested in...
But I don't think that's the name of that movement, even if there was confusion. But Senator... Should I just call you Senator?
It's okay.
Already
incoming Senator. It's okay.
SG, when we see Kalonzo Musyoka saying the things that he's saying, that actually it was supposed to be One Kenya Alliance and that deal is not yet to be signed, in your view, what is the position of One Kenya Alliance within Azimio la Umoja movement?
Yeah, so first of all, Sam, the party leaders did not sign the documents that we are speaking about. The Secretary Generals did. And if you look at the photograph that was taken of me and Honorable Jeremiah Kioni signing, there is a lady standing behind us, and she's the Wiper SG. She signed the same document that we signed. Yes. So it is not something for conjecture. If she doesn't know what she signed, it is not fair. It is also not fair for people to say none of the SGs know. Because you see, I am a lawyer of no mean repute, Sam. And I take my job very seriously as the Secretary General of ODM. The people, the supporters of ODM, would lynch me if I ever put pen to paper on a document that I don't know. I am telling you that we have a feedback mechanism between our lawyers, the two lawyers that I told you, and the party secretariat. And they kept us abreast of everything that we signed. And as Chris Wamalwa said, this document is not a secret. Immediately it is deposited at the Register of Political Parties. It becomes a public document. So we can't be here wrangling about, say, the name of a coalition. What's in a name, as they ask? It's just a name. But I am telling you that as SG of ODM, the document that I signed was, in fact, it provides in Article 1 the name of the coalition is stated on the document as Azimio la Umoja. In Article 4, it says the party slogan shall be Azimio One Kenya. It's a slogan. You understand? And there's a distinction between that. And also, until this document that we signed is deposited at the Register of Political Parties, I am sure that the political parties are amenable to amendments of that document until it is deposited, when it takes effect. So we should not be seen. And the most important thing, Sam, it's not about the name of the coalition, the document, who signed what, or what was not signed, is that finally there is agreement by our brothers in Wiper and the other parties in One Kenya Alliance, that in fact we want to have one formidable team to take on Tangatanga and essentially save this country. So that is the most critical bit, that in fact the question of the presidential candidate, which has been a big problem, and Chris Wamalwa can bear me witness, that in 2013 and in 2017 we spent a lot of time as a coalition just haggling over who's going to become the presidential candidate. So for me, it was a very, very humbling day, Sam. You know that the differences we've had, even with our brothers in Wiper and the other political parties, I was moved to a point of tears. It's just that tears don't come naturally to us because men. But when I heard Kalonzo Musyoka speaking at Jacaranda, I was absolutely moved by the humility of the man, because as everybody knows, he had taken a very hardline stance. But for somebody to actually now put the country first before his own interests and before his own emotions and before his own utterances in the past, it is something that is very humbling. And those of us who are young leaders will always remember this particular moment, that in fact, for all the things that have been said about Kalonzo Musyoka, when the safety and well-being of the nation was threatened by these characters who are an existential threat to the nation, he chose to be on the side that was going to save the country by saying he will not be the one to cause, such a cataclysmic scourge on the country by allowing Tangatanga to win the election. So for us, we are happy that finally we have been speaking about this for a very long time, that in fact there are two horses in this race, that Kalonzo Musyoka has made the decision that he's going to support Raila Odinga, and that is the most critical bit. They can try and look for, chinks in the armor of Azimio, because, as you know, they were publicly wooing Kalonzo. In the past few weeks, you have had statements from them, oh, come and join us to our side. But you can see that now they are very unhappy that he has decided to join us, and that's why they're trying to say all sorts of things about his move.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's listen to something else that was said on Saturday's events by the leaders that inked, or rather were part of that deal, arrived on that day.
Munafurahia kuja pamoja kwa Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga na Mheshimiwa Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Hebu nione kwa mikono ni wangapi leo wanasherehekea umoja wa viongozi wetu.
Tumefanya a bigger coalition, a grand coalition, kwa jina Azimio One Kenya.
All right, so, well, of course, as you hear, SG Sifuna here says that Azimio One Kenya should be the slogan, but the movement is Azimio la Umoja. Movement will wait to hear, but more importantly, to read the documents as they come in. But Secretary General for Kenya, so how important is this move by Kalonzo Musyoka to now join hands? I know you've already dismissed them and saying that they are crumbling, but how important is that shift, and how does it affect the prospects of Kenya Kwanza in this election?
Now, as I said earlier, I have a lot of respect for Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. And listening to SG Sifuna, he said that one of that memoranda is the name of the coalition, which is Azimio la Umoja, contrary to what Kalonzo is saying. And because this document has not yet been deposited at the Register of Political Parties, we are yet to see. I have no doubt that from the look of things, Kalonzo is likely to take off from this Azimio, because he's very categorical that much that he signed, but he's insisting Azimio-OKA. Sifuna SG has insisted that Article 1 of that particular document says it is Azimio la Umoja. A name is something very critical. It brings identity. And Kalonzo has been all over talking about Azimio-OKA. This is also to do with the Ukambani politics. His governors, Charity Ngilu, Professor Kivuda Kibwana, who come from the other area, and the other gentleman of Machakos, Mutua, they are already in Azimio. And they are not, to me, even the value that Kalonzo is adding, it is marginal, because already the governors from that respective areas, they already vowed to go through Azimio. So for Kalonzo, to me, the value that is adding on that particular coalition, that's why I'm saying it's marginal.
But how does that affect Kenya Kwanza?
No, with us, Kenya Kwanza, it's inconsequential. Of course, we've worked with Kalonzo before. We were frustrated together by our brothers, Sifuna here. And Sifuna, now that we've resolved our matters, give us our political party's fund. Because the matter is, they have not given us our money up to now. And for heaven's sake, as we move forward, that is our sweat. So from today, I'm going to do a letter, we want our money. So Kalonzo, we wish him well. Of course, we wanted to work with him because he's somebody we've worked together, we've been frustrated together, but he made his decision. But as Kenya Kwanza...
But honestly, Dr. Chris Omala, I mean, you guys, you have each other's phone number, you can actually send mails, you can visit each other in the office.
But they come to this show, they come to Citizen in the morning to us.
How much are you owed?
I've been looking for Sifuna all over. I can't get him. Okay. So from here, I have the letter ready, and next time you call us, just I want to confirm whether you'll have surrendered our money to us or not. Because one of the issues why NASA not hold.
Let me try and help. How much are you owed?
He doesn't know. He will not tell you anything.
You see, I don't want to disclose.
but I thought that...
But the issue is, even if it's 1 million or whatever it is, they should give us our money.
You know, last time they were here with the Senator Motula Kilonzo Jr., they really squared it out and almost came to a conclusion how much they are owed. If you wanted, you could have stated how much it is.
But he doesn't know.
When it comes to the amount of money, you know, it was tabulated. And if you give me an opportunity, I'll get the figures, because I have figures in my office, which have been tabulated very well as per the political party's formula at that particular time.
Okay.
But what I know, whatever they gave us will not even reach 30% of what we're demanding from them.
30% you say.
He doesn't know.
But fine, you can square it out.
Yes.
At least Wiper was given ex gratia. I think it was on record.
But Dr. Chris Omalwa, you said that the movement of Kalonzo into Azimio Umoja is inconsequential. What if he had crossed over and joined Kenya Kwanza, hypothetically speaking?
As we move on, if I do proper analysis of whatever is happening in Azimio, we have so many political parties that have moved there. And some of the parties that have moved there, some of them don't even have an MCA. So when you talk about the issue of Kalonzo, and when you look at his constituents where he's coming from, it's largely Ukambani. And you can see in Ukambani where it has the three counties, the three governors already had moved to Azimio. So in terms of value addition to Azimio, it is actually marginal, because the other team had already moved there. So whatever value is adding, and the question you're also asking, Raila Odinga being the flag bearer, in terms of value, compared to Kalonzo and Charity Ngilu. When you look at the delegation that is accompanying the Raila Odinga to the UK, I think Charity Ngilu is one of them. We'll have expected him to have gone with maybe Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. There's also a mistrust aspect that is going on between the two. So for today, until that document has been deposited in the Register of Political Parties, Kalonzo is likely to take off from Azimio.
Why would Raila Odinga go to the UK alongside Kalonzo Musyoka?
No, as him being one of the principals and for purposes of going to bond. Of course, they've not been together.
You know,
and
Chris,
if you've come together at such a time, bonding is important.
Chris, going
and
to
team playing.
So, like what happened?
Remember, when we worked with Kalonzo and Raila in 2013, they had to go somewhere for purposes of bonding. When a new person has come in, it is good for the people to come together to bond. And even sort out some of the issues, misunderstanding that has been there. But we are seeing Kalonzo is already on a different trajectory.
He went to a campaign.
Yes. And what is he saying? He's talking of Azimio-OKA. as opposed to Azimio la Umoja.
No, Chris, going to the UK is not like going to Kitale. You just get into a matatu and go. This trip was planned a long time ago, and as you know, the Azimio deal has only been signed.
Azimio-OKA and
Azimio la Umoja deal was signed just a few days ago, so it has nothing to do with that. Number two, Sam, I want to educate my brother on the contents of a document. When he talks about people bolting out, the document says that if you are to bolt out of Azimio, you need to give 90 days notice. And that in fact,
but if it's not yet deposited,
if it, let me teach you.
It is common sense.
Let me teach you about the contents of a document. Are you a lawyer? You're not a lawyer, so you should listen when the lawyers are
explaining. You must be a lawyer to respond on a matter of law.
No. He's a legislator.
I'm a legislator. I'm a lawmaker.
Exactly.
Listen, I'm a lawmaker. You've never been a lawmaker.
Yes.
So who has I'm a lawmaker.
You make laws that you don't even understand.
No, not really.
Understand them in the past.
How is that possible?
Let's listen to each other so that we can make progress.
Can I educate about the document and the implication of a signature? My brother, if you sign a document, it is binding on you. It is not the depositing at the registrar that makes it binding on you. It is a binding document. So this document says that in fact the parties that signed on Saturday cannot leave the coalition for the next 6 months or 3 months after the election. So I know what I signed and what it says. So allow me to teach.
The
issue is this. The issue is this, Sam. Just a minute.
Bolting out is not an option. Yeah.
So
just before you come in,
Senator, and
before you come in,
just hold on. Let's listen to something that happened in Meru, because I want us to make progress on this coalition building. We know that Governor Kiraitu Murungi crossed over to Azimio. The UDA brigade, or Kenya Kwanza brigade, was in Meru, and they had a few things to say. Let's listen to both sides of the story.
Tunaingiza bas ndani ya Azimio. Sasa wengine wanasema Raila anakura Meru. Anakura ama anakura? Anakura ama anakura? Ule mwingine alikuwa kwa TV akituambia tuachane na miraa. Huyo ni nani? 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 Tunaweza wachana na miraa yetu?
Na sisi tunamshukuru yule mmoja vile kwa sababu unajua kulikuwa na shida kidogo na ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa Peter Munya, lakini Raila ametuleta pamoja.
Tumeongea naye kwa zaidi ya miaka 6. Tukimwambia Kenya yote na Meru yote iko hapa kwa Ruto, lakini mwisho amekataa, ameenda kwa Azimio. Ni nyinyi mlimwambia aende Azimio? Ni nyinyi mlimtuma? Sasa ndugu yangu Kiraitu Murungi, pole sana. Wewe ni rafiki yangu, lakini gavana wa Meru kutoka sasa ni Mithika Linturi.
Wewe kuogopa fire moja mbili uletewe alafu uogope? Ndugu yangu, tumesema hatutakubali. Wewe kasimike pamoja, hatutauza wa Meru sababu ya kuuziwa woga na sera. Ile kitu ambaye anapaswa ambie wa Meru ni kushukuru wa Meru kwa kumpea miaka 30 ya kutawala hapa Meru. Kwa hivyo wakati umefika apatiane hiyo fimbo ya uongozi kwa Mithika Linturi, tukishikana na Mithika Linturi akiwa gavana ya Meru.
All right, so I want to begin with Senator Moro, who's been quiet for quite some minutes. And what was that? And what do you make of, because it would appear there were talks with Meru Governor Kiraitu Murungi. And actually, there's one of the papers that has written about that. But now he has crossed over. Then Kenya Kwanza gets there, and the main agenda is to decampaign. What does that say about our politics?
Yes, I think first and foremost, before I come to that, if you allow me to get a bite of the cherry, you see, Edwin Sifuna knows what he signed. But is it Shakila Abdallah and others? Now the party leader that says that they don't know, because it serves Eric Sifunda's right, because it is his party leader who is being endorsed for president. And that is a dishonesty of Azimio la Utapeli, because you get people to sign and then you say for 6 months you can't get out of the coalition because you are now locked in until after elections. That is very dishonest of you people. And that is why people keep on getting out of you and moving on to other people, even including Chris Wamalo here. And you cannot come up here to tell us that the only way is because you are a lawyer. It's not about being a lawyer. It's the dishonesty of your party. And that is why even you chased away Jimmy Wanjigi, who had paid for your nomination fee.
You are a heckler,
and also, it's okay. That is part of the ODM training. I want to say that also somebody called Oparanja was never given his 1 million. So please, moving forward.
Now,
I think
I don't think we can sit here and engage.
I think going forward,
Senator, if you have no content, you should just have gone straight to your rally. That is something you can.
Just hold on.
I don't think you have the marking scheme of a show.
Senator,
if you are uncomfortable with my views,
please, Senator.
If you are uncomfortable with my views, then go back to your Azimio.
Senator, just listen to me.
Yes,
let SG alone.
Let him not heck when I'm talking.
But let's be clear here. First of all, I would plead with you to be respectful on the show. I know you have differences with Azimio la Umoja. I don't know who, but just call it Azimio la Umoja. It's not Lautapeli, at least on this show. Let's not call,
but also,
each other names.
Can we also allow...
Just hold on, you have your time. Yeah. And I'm saying let's just be respectful, respond to the questions as they are. If you have other political agenda, that can be handled elsewhere. But Senator, the question I asked you, you've seen what happened in Meru, and you see the story on page 10 of the Standard. Kiraito kept Ruto camp waiting until last minute jumped to Azimio. What is this that we're witnessing? You're quoting an individual, they cross over, they become the bad person. What politics is this?
No, by the way, Sam, and we are moving forward, Edwin should not interfere when I'm speaking because he's the one who's heckling.
That's
so
fine.
Let's be respectful. If you are not comfortable with what I'm saying, just wait, you'll respond. We are here for a long time. Please don't use vulgar language. Edwin, don't heck with the show. You are well known for heckling.
Answer the question.
Let's proceed. I think so that we also have some decorum. The issue here we have is this, because if you look at Kiraito's party, it has actually colors that are similar to UDA. Yeah, you have green, you have all of those. And I think the whole matrix was about, okay, what is Munya going to do? Because I remember some rally that I attended in Meru long ago, and really from that rally, Munya had the ground, you see. So the fact that then Peter Munya was retained in government, I don't know for what reason, then Kiraito feels safe because then he doesn't have a competitor in whatever position. And at that point, we were talking with Peter Munya, and he was saying even if he was told to go back to be the governor of Meru, he would actually accept. But that's long ago. So now he seems comfortable. If you look at from our side in UDA, we didn't have a gubernatorial candidate. It's only about 2 weeks ago that the Linturi Kadhuri Murungi's ticket was declared. So that Kadhuri Murungi was actually supposed to defend his Imenti South seat, and Linturi was thinking whether he should go for governor or something else. And now we now have our own ticket of UDA. And now because officially Linturi is going to challenge Kiraito, he has then since jumped ship to the other side. The ground in Meru is actually UDA.
So did you identify a candidate in Senator Linturi after you learned that Murungi is moving towards Azimio?
It was actually out of research. You see, people negotiate, and you could even hear what process.
And the research showed
that UDA was the most popular party in Mount Kenya region, and Meru in particular.
So because the story here is saying that you were not to field a competitor against Kiraito Murungi on understanding that he was to support your side.
Yeah, that's the case. You even look at the colors that Kiraito had chosen. They are closer they're actually similar to UDA than they would be to, for example, ODM or Azimio. So it is those matrix there, especially now also because people are asking, okay, where will the running mate come from? If he comes from Mount Kenya region, for example, which we expect because we have a vote basket of 5.8 million. I don't know whether Sifuna and his team are also looking at the same, but for us, of course, that then becomes the complex matter. That is what you are seeing at play. Because then, if we had not sponsored a candidate against Kiraito and then he had a friendly party, he used to go to rallies and his own, party members would shout, Ruto. You see, we don't know what will be the equation going forward, but we are also seeing, some people, chest thumping and saying that the running mate of Raila Odinga is Peter Munya. So let us wait and see. Especially now, we can see David Murathe saying they are not keen on the run. There's a lot of dishonesty. There's a lot of conjecture. There's a lot of people trying to... What
dishonesty in what David Murathe said? Because when I listened to him on KTN News, he was saying that they are not very keen on the seat because it's not very significant for them. They are more about the portfolio, the ministries that they will be allocated to their party.
That is true, but you see, a ministry is not guaranteed. A running mate position, yes, indeed, if you look at the constitution of Kenya, the position of the deputy president, which we in central Kenya would want to have, actually, is a principal assistant to the president. And of course, when you come to the coalition, you get it and several cabinet portfolios. So if you hear Murathe talking about that, you are looking at, you will actually see the emergence of this position of chief minister. So that is what could be they are looking at, and I can predict. So in terms of
Senator, let's quickly take a short break, then you come back and talk about more about that, including today is the big day for UDA. They are just about to hold their national delegates convention. Is it convention or conference?
Convention.
Convention to pick the presidential candidate, much anticipated to be DP William Ruto. After the break, stay tuned.